Welcome to All About Videography. My name is Drew Levy, and in this video I'll review the Sokani X60 COB LED light. As well, I will compare it to the Godox SL60. I'm also going to bring up all the flaws with this Sokani X60, and there are flaws with this light, so if the Sokani is a light you consider to buy, then definitely watch this video. I'll tell you right away from the get-go, I have some mixed feelings about this light, but let me give you the facts and we'll go from there. So, the Sokani X60 comes in a lovely soft case. The material feels like a Cordura to me. It has two carrying handles that are attached with Velcro together for reinforcement. Now, if you flip the case, you'll see 4.5-inch high razors, and that to make sure the case never touches the floor in case the floor is wet or maybe there is dirt over there. Now, going back to the top of the case, you'll find two straps on the lid to carry additional gear. You can put a softbox or even a stand. Inside of the lid, there is a net compartment with a zipper, and there you'll find the power supply. Now, on each side of the lid, there is a strap to hold the lid from flip backward, but you can always open those buckles and have the lid flip all the way to the back. There is a soft divider between the lid and the compartment, and that's where you'll find the remote control carrying belt and the remote control strap. At least that's what it looks like. Underneath of the divider, there is the light and the light reflector. So that's about the case. Let's talk about the light. There are two things you will notice right away when you see the Sokani X60, and it is how small it is and the premium build quality. It is amazing. The Godox is about twice the size of the Sokani. I mean, it's so small that if you had to remove the reflector from the case, you could fit easily two of those Sokani X60 and still have room left. Now, initially, I scored the build quality very high, but after some very little use, I found some defects to the design and the build quality of the Sokani, but I'll get to it in a moment. Let's talk about the specs. It is 80 watts COB LED light, 5600 daylight. CRI is 96 plus, which is pretty much standard these days. It has 5 pre-programmed light effects, and it can be controlled with remote control. Now, on the light, there is a dial button to dial the light intensity and the effect frequencies. The dial is also a set button when clicking in. There is an on-off button. There is a 15-volt DC input, a channel group button. It has 6 group A, B, C, D, E, F, and 12 channels. It has a trigger lock button that pauses the effect. It has OCT button to move back from effect mode to the light mode. And there is effect button to toggle between the effects and also to get back from the OCT to the effect mode. On the display, you can see the temperature of the light, channel and group, Kelvin temperature, which is set to 5600 K, the brightness percentage intensity, and the mode, which is either OCT or effect. I tested the light to see if there's any flickering under 24 frames, 30 frames. I couldn't find anything. Shutter speed was 50 through 250. I also did slow motion 120 frames, and I did not find any flickering. Now, going by the specs of the Sokani, the spec says 784 lux brightness without a reflector from 2 meter distance and 3607 lux brightness with a reflector. I tasted myself, and plus minus it is the same. Now, let's compare it to the Godox SL60. So the Godox without a reflector measured 754 lux brightness, and with a reflector it was 1314 lux. Now again, let's go back to the Sokani with a reflector. It was 3607 lux. This is 3 times more than the Godox. So how that could be? It is the reflector. I mean, the reflector has a diamond cut design, so that's pretty much does the magic. Now, when I try to put the reflector of the Sokani on the Godox, I got pretty much the same result. So I guess it's the design. I don't know why Godox did not think about the same design, but it does the magic. So if you had to use both lights with a softbox, you'll get pretty much the same brightness, the same output. But if you have to use both lights to overpowering the sound outdoor, with the reflector of the Sokani, you'll get much better results, which is amazing. As I mentioned, the Sokani X60 has 5 pre-programmed lighting effects. It has the flashing mode, which is paparazzi mode, bed bulb mode, lighting mode, fireworks mode, TV mode. Now in the effect mode, you can change the light intensity 1 through 100 and the frequency 1 through 10. Now the Sokani X60 looks premium. It is all metal build, which was a surprise for me considering the price. I expected it to be plastic just like the Godox. So it was a surprise for me. Now, with that said, there are build quality issues. I will call defects. Now, let's start with the yoke. The yoke locking mechanism is limited to weight. I mean, initially I put it with the aperture lantern softbox, and that's what I have over here. It's the aperture lantern softbox. And so it is pretty heavy softbox. And, you know, when I compared it to the Godox had no problem to hold this. It didn't bend, it didn't give, nothing. This one couldn't hold it. So I assume maybe it's because it's too heavy. So I put a very small softbox and it was just the same. It's just little by little, you know, it dropped down and dropped down and dropped down. And actually I used it yesterday on a gig. I wanted to test it. And somewhere in the middle of the interview, I noticed that the face is not lit as good. It's actually more the shirt. So this is an issue. I mean, straight out of the box, you're gonna have to do something about it. It's just not gonna work. So this is one flaw. The reflector fits loosely inside the Bowman mount. It sounds like you are moving pots and pans in the kitchen. Let me show you. It's just it's just annoying. It's just sorry about the noise, guys. It's just now I tried to put the reflector of the Sokani on the Godox and it rattled. I put the Godox reflector on the Sokani, it rattled. That means that both the design of the mount and the reflectors are off, because the reflector on the Godox is okay. It's not 100%, but it is way better than this one. So that's another flaw. Next, let's talk about the DC input. It took me only 3 times to connect and disconnect the power supply to the DC input for the DC input to sink into the case. It dropped in. And when I opened the case, I found that the plug was glued with a hot glue only in one small area of the plug. It was not glued all around. So I had to actually get inside, take the plug, the original plug out, because there was no way to tighten it with a nut. So I took it out, I replaced the plug, I put a nut and I tightened it. So it's kind of got me worried about the build quality control of this light. Again, that's something to consider about the Sokani X60. Next was the fan noise. Now, if you are planning on using this for professional videography, for doing a lot of interviews, when capturing sound is very important to you, so this light might not be for you. And the reason I say might is because, are you very picky about floor noise? Are you very picky about AC noise? What about fridge noise? And if this is who you are, you know, if silence, very clean sound is very important to you, you're not into clean it during post, then this light is not for you. The fan from this light is just amazing loud. I mean, it's, you know, compared to the Godox, it's very loud. And I've seen many YouTube videos when people criticize the fan, the fan noise that comes from this light. Some even replace the fan. The honest truth, it does not bother me. I have 3 of the Godox and I'm okay with that. And I'm 20 inches away from the Godox. Now I'll turn off the Godox and I'll turn on the Sokani right away. let's say you wanted to replace the fan inside of the Sokani, just like people replace it with the Godox. You won't be able to. I searched online and I was looking for good rated quiet fan, and the only one I found was the profile width was 25 millimeter. Now the profile width of this fan is less than 10 millimeter. The distance between the heatsink and to the case is 15 millimeter. So if you wanted to put the a quieter fan inside of this case, it's not going to be in a conventional way. You're going to have to be very, very creative. So this is about the fan. Next is the Sokani is rated, the intensity is rated from 1% all the way to 100%. And 100% means full power and 1% means almost no light. Now, the 1% of the Sokani looks to me like 10% intensity. It is far from looking like it is 1%. It's far from looking like it's about to die. I mean, see for yourself, this is 10% of the Godox and this is 1% of the Sokani. To me, it is just the same. Last but not least is the remote control. And that's something that would not bother lots of you, but it does bother me. The remote control has on-off switch, but it does not turn on the light. It just turns on the remote itself. One of the things I like about turning on and off a light remotely is the fact that I can actually see how the light is controlling the scene. Especially when you have multiple lights, you know, it will be nice to turn off all the lights and just turn on the backlight or the kick light. And this is something that this remote does not offer, and for example the Godox does offer. But the Sokani remote control has to also have a positive, and the positive is that it is sync with the light both ways, which means that if you adjust the intensity through the remote, you will see it right away on the light. If you adjust the light through the dial on the light, you will see the adjustment on the remote. Now, this is not the same with the Godox. The Godox, when you make the adjustment on the light, it's not gonna register on the remote control. And as soon as you make adjustment with the remote control, the light will go to the same power the remote control says. Can I recommend this light? The fact that the DC input fell inside the case got me worried about the Sokani assembly line quality control. See, I have the tools, I have the knowledge, I have the skills to fix something like that, but not everyone feels comfortable to take apart their lights, and you might end up with a broken light. Worse than that, it could happen to you on a job, so something to consider. On the other hand, it could be that the light that I have is a bad batch. Who knows? The fan noise could also be a deal breaker for some. For some, it should be okay because many times I'll go on a gig and the sound around, I mean, the noise around is way worse than the noise that comes from the fan. I mean, sometimes there's no way to turn off the AC. Sometimes, like yesterday, yesterday I was a small gig, it was an interview, and in the back room there was a commercial refrigerator. They could not turn off. We had no other room to do that. It was a last minute gig. That's the only way I could shoot. So between the AC in this place, between the commercial fridge, the noise was way worse than the fan. So, I'm gonna have to clean in post. Another thing is, if you don't care about the size of the light, if the the form factor means nothing to you, you don't need to travel with that, you just need a light, I would say get the Godox. I think it's a much better light. Yes, it doesn't have the effects. To me, I don't care for the effects. I don't think I will ever use it. I use the lights for commercial work, for interviews, corporate videos. I don't see myself using those effects. So, considered, all the above, all the flaws, it's really up to you. But I think that I would not get a second one. I think that if I had to get lights from the get-go, will be the Godox. I'm pretty much happy with this light. One way or another, I'm gonna leave affiliate link for this light. After reviewing this video, I noticed that I was very negative about this light. When I got this light, I was very, very excited. I loved the fact that it's so small. It is a Bowen mount. I was looking for a light like that for the longest time. So there's a lot positive, but some of the things that I mentioned, it should be a concern and something that you should know before you buy this light. And that's what the video is all about. If you like this video, please thumbs up, like the video, and consider to subscribe to this channel. And thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was informative, and I'll see you in the next video.